longtime friend of mine. We've been able to work together for, I think it's almost 14 years together now. I call her Mama Patty because I've never seen someone take care of her team and love on her team quite as much as Patty does. She's just been an inspiration to see her build. She was featured in Success from Home magazine and got an article written about her because of her success at home. And the only way you can succeed in our industry is helping other people to succeed. So I love her story and just look forward to hearing from her this morning. So with that being said, I'm turning it over to you, Patty.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that great info. And welcome, everybody, to our Wednesday morning wake-up call. And we appreciate you all being here and hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. So we are in the book Little Things Matter by Todd Smith. Great book if you have it. It's great if you don't. We're just going through it. We're on chapter 31. It's another good chapter. I think each chapter builds on the next one, but this one is attending special dinner engagements. And I don't know about you, but there's been many times that I've been nervous about the dinner engagements, not knowing what to do. So this is a great section here. So he says, little things matter in every area of our life, including what we say and how we act when attending social events. He said, well, I'm far from being the male version of Miss Manners or Emily Post. I have learned how to handle myself at important dinner engagements as I travel the world meeting with valued clients, prospective partners, and business colleagues. And he gives 20 tips for making a positive impression at dinner. He says, 1, prepare in advance. He said, make sure you know what you're going to wear, including accessories, and give yourself plenty of time to get ready. He said he learned this lesson when he left his tuxedo shirt at home and didn't realize it until he was getting dressed in his hotel room. And I realized that one time I traveled and I got to the hotel getting ready and realized I left the extra bag of shoes, and that's just not a good feeling when you're getting ready to go to something like that. He says, 2, look your best. He said, discover what the dress code is in advance and make sure you look your best. When unsure, you're better off overdressing than underdressing. You only get one chance to make a first impression. 3, be on time. Arriving on time shows your respect to the host or hostess and other dinner guests. And 4, greet everyone. Greet each dinner guest with a warm smile and a firm handshake. If appropriate, repeat his or her name, such as, it's nice meeting you, Dan. 5, wait to be seated. Allow the host or hostess to direct the seating arrangements. 6, don't be the first to order an alcoholic drink. Water is a good first choice. If other guests order an alcoholic beverage, you can order one as well. 7, go with the flow. If everyone at the table is drinking plain water, don't ask for sparkling water. Keep requests simple, especially if you are at someone's home. 8, focus your attention on the person talking. When someone is talking, maintain eye contact with this person. This demonstrates your respect for the person and indicates that you are interested in the topic. 9, include everyone when talking. When you are talking, share eye contact with each person at the table to include them in the conversation and make them feel valued. 10, think before you speak. Don't be quick to jump into the conversation. Instead, be a respectful listener and observer. When you do talk, carefully consider what you say. 11, don't talk about yourself. Resist the temptation to talk about yourself unless asked. Show an interest in others by asking questions. Listen attentively and continue the conversation accordingly. 12, don't start a side conversation. Be sure to focus your attention on the person speaking, even if they aren't making eye contact with you. 13, don't change the conversation. Unless the conversation is clearly over, don't change the topic being discussed. This could be perceived as a lack of interest in the current subject or even boredom. 14, excuse yourself at the appropriate time. Wait until there is a pause or a shift in the conversation if you feel it's necessary to leave the table. Otherwise, your exit will be a distraction and the person speaking could feel you don't value what is being said. 15, wait until everyone is served. Wait until everyone has received his or her food before you start eating. 16, don't cut up all the food on your plate. Good table manners dictate that you cut up your food as you eat rather than to cut it all up at once. 17, don't drink too much. Of all times you don't want to overdrink, important dinner engagements rank at the top of the list. 18, pass it. If someone asks for the rolls that are in front of you, pass the basket without taking one. If you want one, after they help themselves, you can ask that it be passed back to you. 19, be on your best behavior. Sit up straight. Leave your elbows off the table. Don't pick your teeth. And remember all the other things your mother taught you. 20, help clean up. If the dinner engagement is at someone's home, offer to help clean up. Simply ask, would you please allow me to help you? When they accept your offer, help clean up until the job is finished or your host or hostess wants to take a break. If they decline your help because they would rather continue the conversation in another room, ask them again when the party is over. And Emily Post leaves us with a final word. She said, manners are a sensitive awareness of the feelings of others. If you have that awareness, you have good manners no matter what fork you use. And I love that she said that, because I know I've been to dinners and, I kid around. We live on the hashtag funny farm, and we don't have a lot of those special events like that. And I remember going to dinner worrying about the silverware and how everything worked and staring at everybody to see what they did. But there's a lot of good points in here, really a lot of good points. And I used to be one of those people that would cut up all my food because I hadn't heard that before. Like, I would cut it all up before I ate, and somebody pointed it out to me at a dinner. Not embarrassing, in a quiet way. They just said, you're really not supposed to cut up all your food. And I was like, I didn't know that, but I always remembered it after that point. So I thought that was a good one. And of course, probably a biggie for me too is like hosting events, to always be respectful of that person that hosts it, because my grandma always did our events. They weren't big events like that, but the family events, but we always offered to help. And my parents and everybody taught me that when you go to an event, or especially somebody's house, to offer to help clean up, because that person took a lot of time to put that together. And I like to host parties and dinners and do things in my family, and now we're inviting the in-laws from my kids, and we have bigger dinners, and it makes a difference. It really makes a difference if people offer to help. I mean, I've had times when nobody's offered to help, and I just know it makes you feel better when somebody does offer to help. Even if I say, no, you go have fun, at least they offered. And I just make it a point when I go to somebody's house to always offer to help clean up afterwards, and where it says stay to the end, and finish it out. I think that's a big deal. So, Chris, I'm going to throw it to you for some feedback from you.
Well, first I'll just say is, sometimes things are a spotlight, and this would be one that I've struggled with. I've struggled with a lot of these different categories, and as I sat and listened to you read through them, and I read through the chapter last night both, you almost kind of start a scorecard in your head. It's like those things you see on social media that you get a point for everything you've done or not done or whatever. And I know that out of the 20, I scored about a 7 or an 8 of areas that I feel that I do well in. Which means that in a lot of the categories or the tips that you shared, I feel that I don't do well in. But in reflecting in that, first off, I'm like, oh man, I'm just a horrible, person. And to be honest, before our success in this company, we had never been to a formal engagement. We had never been to a formal dinner. We had never been in a lot of these environments. So yes, it was very uncomfortable in the beginning. You go to more and more and more events like this, you become more comfortable. But like I said, some of the areas I still definitely need some work in. But what I did as I was reflecting on it is the areas that I am judging myself to be doing well in the impact of those are really good. For instance, the making eye contact with people as they're talking to you to make sure that they know that you're listening and that you're engaged in the conversation with them. Those types of things just count so much. They are very heavy in their return and investment, if you will. When you pay attention to people, when you listen to people, and even during phone conversations, I've had relationships where I've been a really good listener for even years sometimes, and then there's been other times that, I'm not as good of a listener, and you can definitely tell the difference in those relationships when you were spending, a bigger majority of your time listening and letting people talk and share their feelings and things that were going on from times that you felt maybe like you needed to share. And it almost changes the dynamic of the relationship sometimes, because it is valuable to someone. It is important to them sometimes just to have a sounding board and someone to listen to. So I know the food one that if Sarah would have been able to hear all the calls that was going on today, she would have been saying, see, told you, like not eating as your food comes to the table until everyone is served. That is a big thing in our house. Do not dare start eating before everybody has their food. So all these little things, that's what this book's all about, the little things that matter, and they do matter. They do go a long way in your first impressions and what people think about you. So I thought it was a really good chapter and a good one to grow from and to learn from. So, Patty, that's what I got.
Well, that's good. I have one more. It's not in the book, but I think, the book was written years ago, and our cell phones. I mean, that is just something, too, I think, to put your cell phone away during these dinners and during these events, because, I watch people now, when we go have dinners and stuff, and they've got their cell phones. They're looking at their cell phones, and it's just a point of disrespect to be able to do that. And the fact that we just can't put them down long enough sometimes to be able to have those conversations, and it makes an impact when you're at a dinner like that. And I saw it just even with our own family years ago. I remember sitting at a dinner and everybody had their cell phones out, and I just made it a point that when the family's together, and we're having dinner, mine's put away, and one time I finally said to my kids, I was like, this is, a big event dinner. I think it's Easter dinner or something like that. And I said, let's put our cell phones down and just talk. And they're like, well, what about you? Because for years, that's what I did. I had my phone out all the time. And anyway, we've got it now where their phones, it's like we didn't even get a lot of pictures this time at Christmas because we had our phones put down. And I think it goes for these formal events too, to be able to take that moment and, just, put the phones down for a little while and get into the conversations, because that'll be another way that people look at you and brand you and think about you as you're going. So as Todd always has a challenge, he says today, let me encourage you to follow these tips at your next dinner. He said, if you are intentional about incorporating these into your behavior, you will make a positive impression on everyone in the room, and you'll feel good about yourself and the person you are becoming. He said, practicing good manners is an easy way to enhance your image and influence. So I think it's a great chapter. I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Chris is on the road, so I'm going to close it out and open it up for everybody to say goodbye.